videotaping my yard?
No, I'm not going to tell you anything.
Okay. All right.
This guy with you?
Fucking A, he is. Oh well.
Why are you videotaping?
This guy just grabbed my camera.
Oh well.
Broke it. And threw it over there in the bushes.
Why are you over here videotaping kids?
You're probably perv.
This guy right here. This is the one.
They threw
Grabbed my camera
into the bushes, and then they tried to paint him as a monster. That's the story today. And you know, just like I know, this wasn't about vandalism. This was about control. A man was standing on a public sidewalk in San Jose, California, doing nothing more than exercising his God-given right to film what he could see from a public street. That's it. No crime, no trespassing. He was simply looking at a business called Peninsula Crane and Rigging. But the owner, a man named Stanley Alger, decided he didn't like being watched. He didn't like that a citizen had the nerve to hold a camera in his direction. So he walked
off of it, ripped it off,
all right,
and threw it in the bushes. Go ahead, call the cops.
I fucking am.
Yeah, you're gonna pay for that camera too.
I ain't fucking doing shit.
You're gonna pay for that camera.
You ain't doing shit.
Look at what he did.
Send you to fucking jail.
You ain't sending me nowhere. You're the one that's going to end up going to jail, if anything.
Mr. Alger grabs Mr. Slow's camera and throws it into the bushes, damaging it in the process. According to Section 594 of the California Penal Code, an individual commits the crime of vandalism if they quote-unquote maliciously deface, damage, or destroy any real or personal property that is not their own.
But it gets worse. It gets darker. Because when the truth is on your side, you don't need to lie. But Mr. Alger and his employee, a woman inside the office, they didn't just lie. They manufactured a crisis. They abused the 911 system to weaponize the police against an innocent man. This is the part the mainstream media will never frame correctly, because it exposes the rot at the core of how powerful people manipulate the system to serve their own anger. First, Alger called the cops and said Mr. Slow was suspicious. When that didn't get the SWAT team rolling fast enough, the story changed. Then his employee made a call that could have gotten a man killed. She told the dispatcher that Mr. Slow was taking pictures of kids at the school across the street. Then she said the words that trigger a massive lights and sirens response. She said he had a gun. She claimed it looked like there was a black handle in his back pocket.
Not to 10. He has a light dark black beard and so forth. He has sunglasses. He is wearing a black hoodie and jeans.
And how long has he been out there?
I don't know, but he was spotted videotaping and so forth. And when I asked him to cease and desist, he refused and won't identify who he is. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, and how do you spell your last name, sir? I can't spell it.
It's ridiculous.
Whatever.
Hello?
You can comment all you want, sir.
San Jose emergency.
Hi, I need a police officer dispatched, please, to 656 Wool Creek Drive immediately. Huh?
What's going on there?
There's a man out here who is standing on the sidewalk. He keeps taking pictures of the kids at the school across the street. He looks like he's got something in his back pocket. It almost looked like a gun.
Think about that. Think about the evil in that. They knew they were lying. They knew they were in the wrong for breaking the camera. So what did they do? They tried to paint a peaceful man as a predator and an armed threat. They tried to send armed officers to a scene where they knew there was no gun. And we all knew this was coming, didn't we? This is the same playbook we see from the corrupt elite every single day. If you expose them, they will smear you. If you stand your ground, they will call you a demonic presence or a threat to children. It's ritualistic the way they attack the character of anyone who dares to hold them accountable. They tried to blackball this man from the public square by painting him as the ultimate villain. But they made a mistake. They forgot the officer who responded had a brain.
computer imaging technology, was protected by the First Amendment because it did not harm any children in the production process. Building on this reasoning, the Oatman court concluded that, quote, children are not harmed by non-obscene photographs taken in public places. While it is understandable to dislike the fact that someone might have objectionable thoughts when viewing ordinary images of children, the state is constitutionally prohibited from precluding citizens from creating such images. Therefore, even if Mr. Slow had been photographing the children at the school from the sidewalk, his First Amendment right to do so has been firmly established, even if others found it to be unsettling or inappropriate. However, it is important to note that in some circumstances, such behavior could give a police officer reasonable suspicion to conduct a Terry stop on the individual taking photographs.
Emergency, how may I help you?
Yes, you guys need to send a police officer or more than one. There's a gentleman out in our yard with a gun, I believe.
What's the address?
Back 656 Wool Creek.
Is that a house and a...
The officer arrived to a chaotic scene. Alger and his employee were screaming about a gun. But instead of drawing his weapon and screaming at Mr. Slow, the officer did something radical. He listened. He looked at the evidence. He saw the broken camera. He heard the frantic, shifting stories from the accusers. And he realized he was being played. He didn't fall for the lie. The officer told them the truth that they didn't want to hear. Mr. Slow had a right to film. He had a right to be there. He had a right not to identify himself to a private citizen throwing a tantrum.
The address?
Back 656 Wool Creek.
Is that a house or an apartment?
It's in a business.
And the name of the business?
Peninsula Crane.
And he has a gun where?
It looks like he has a gun.
Where?
And I'm telling you what, if you guys don't come in the next 5 minutes, I'm calling all the TV stations.
Ma'am,
what?
A gun where?
What? In his bag.
Okay, one moment.
Hurry up.
Okay.
All right, so I just called the police. This guy's called twice about 20 minutes ago.
Hi, sir. Can I help you?
Yeah. That guy right there broke my camera off my stand right here and threw it in the bushes over there.
Okay. We got to call someone with a gun?
No.
You don't have a gun?
I don't have a gun.
Okay. You're free to record me. I don't care. I'm recording you.
Okay.
So we did a good report of you, male with sunglasses, mask, bag with the gun. Okay. So you can record me. You can leave that there. I just got to make sure I'm safe.
All right,
okay?
go for it, man.
So
I don't have any.
Okay. I'm just going to take your bag off. Okay.
I can.
Yeah. Take it off,
Well,
please.
it's got a body.
Okay. That's fine. Like I said, I'm just trying to be safe. Okay. That way we can deal with this appropriately. Okay. So just relax. You're going to have to put the tripod, leave it. I'm going to...
The officers checked Mr. Slow for a weapon. There was no gun. There was nothing but a camera and a tripod. The gun was a figment of their imagination, a demonic lie designed to trigger a deadly confrontation. The officer looked at the employee who called 911 and reprimanded her for hanging up on the call takers. He told her that making a false report of a firearm was serious. It was a validation of everything we know about the system. Sometimes the cops aren't the problem. Sometimes the cops are the only thing standing between a lying aggressor and an innocent man.
Go back to normal. This sounds like some kind of civil issue. So what happened?
I was recording from the sidewalk up there. Okay. This guy didn't like it, so we just grabbed my camera and threw it in the bushes.
Did you know them or what's going on?
No, I don't know them at all. I was just checking out their cranes. They have like cranes and stuff.
Oh, you don't know them at all? You're just recording? Okay.
I'm just a random dude.
Okay. Well, they called in a guy with a gun, so you get this
want
response.
This kind of response, yeah.
You get this kind of response.
Is there a gun scene?
I don't know, ma'am.
I reported that there was a gun scene to us.
I don't know. I know one of our guys said he had his hand in his pocket, inside his bag, when they first seen him, and they didn't know if he had a gun or not.
Okay.
So find out what female inside your guys' business called us here for this kind of response.
Right now,
so we'll go inside and find out.
Go ahead.
This is ridiculous. Who called the police and said someone had a gun?
I called the police and said it looked like he had something that looked like
Okay,
a gun.
well, we need you to come outside and talk to us.
Okay.
Because everyone out here saying that nobody said he had a gun, and that's a very serious accusation.
I know. It looked like he had a gun in his back pocket. That's why I was terrified when I called.
Ma'am, my problem...
This is where the real files come in. In California, falsely reporting an emergency that results in a police response is a crime. Vandalism is a crime. This woman and Stanley Alger should have been in handcuffs. They put a man's life in danger. They lied about a school zone. They lied about a gun. If it had been a different officer, a man who didn't have the courage to slow down, Mr. Slow could have been executed on the pavement for the crime of holding a camera. And that is the open anger we need to feel right now. This isn't just about a camera. It is about the fragile line between justice and a mob. And the mob was led by a man who broke the law and a woman who called the police to save him from the consequences.
See, with this whole situation, if you're the one calling, is why are you hanging up on our call takers?
I was coming out here to see what was going on.
Okay, ma'am, you cannot generate a response like that and hang up on our call takers. It's so far from okay. It's just ridiculous. If you were that scared, why would you keep coming back outside?
I didn't come outside. I came to the door to watch what was going on.
You stay on the phone with our call takers if you call 911.
One of the officers reprimands the employee who called 911 for her actions, but does not arrest her for any criminal offenses, despite the fact that he may have had arguable probable cause to do so. Section 148.3 of the California Penal Code makes it a misdemeanor offense for an individual to report an emergency to the government if they know that the report is false, and a felony offense to report a false emergency if they know or should know that the response to the report is likely to cause death or great bodily injury, and great bodily injury or death is sustained by any person as a result of the false report. The statute includes in the definition of an emergency as, quote, any condition that results in the response of a public official in an authorized emergency vehicle, and also states that for, quote, any individual convicted of violating this section based upon a report that resulted in an emergency response is liable to a...
The officers gave Alger a citation for vandalism. He broke a man's property, and he got a ticket. It feels like a slap on the wrist, doesn't it? It feels like the system protects the aggressors, while the victims are left to pick up the pieces of their broken equipment and their shattered sense of safety. The officers on scene were the unlikely silenced heroes here. They didn't want the spotlight. They just did their job. They pushed back against the hysterical lies and defended the citizen. They are the example of what happens when law enforcement remembers who they serve.
Slow had a firearm, or that it looked like he had a gun. So if she was charged with either of these offenses, she would likely use this defense to argue that she genuinely believed he had a weapon. However, that does not mean that she would succeed in her defense, and there are certain facts that would support an argument that she was lying to provoke a police response, such as the fact that she said that the gun was in Mr. Slow's back pocket in her first call and in his bag in her second call. Ultimately, the decision would depend on how a judge or jury interpreted the facts of the case.
And where was he standing at? On the sidewalk?
He was on the sidewalk.
Okay, so he has
yes, he has a right to be on the sidewalk.
Yes,
but does he have a right to videotape?
Yes, you're in public view.
Okay. But does he have a right to not identify himself?
Yes, 100%.
He doesn't even have to identify himself to us.
He's doing a First Amendment right. He has a First Amendment right to record. There's nothing wrong with him recording. If you don't want to be recorded, you can go inside, away from the camera's view.
He found his camera.
But the question remains. It hangs in the air like smoke after a fire. Why are the accusers not in jail? Why do we allow people to lie to the police, to use the police as their private army, and face zero consequences? If you or I called 911 and said a man had a gun when we knew he didn't, we would be facing felony charges. We would lose our jobs. Our lives would be over. But these people, they get to go back to their business. They get to walk away. This is the part where everything makes sense now. This is why they hate cameras. This is why...
A tense encounter without resorting to force or otherwise needlessly escalating the situation, and I encourage other law enforcement officers to learn from their example. Mr. Slow also gets an A for maintaining a calm and respectful demeanor throughout the encounter, communicating with the officers and complying with their orders when they arrived on the scene, and standing up for his right to film when faced with verbal attacks, multiple 911 calls, and damage to his camera. Mr. Alger and his employee, on the other hand, get an F for abusing the 911 emergency system, demonstrating a clear disregard for Mr. Slow's First Amendment rights, his property, and his physical safety, and potentially lying about a firearm to incite a larger police response. Claiming that a suspicious individual has a gun outside a school is a serious accusation, and it does not require a stretch of the imagination to conclude that the 911 caller knew the implication of her actions. This situation is similar to so-called swatting, which is a form of harassment where individuals make false reports of serious crimes in order to send a substantial police or emergency service response team to another person's address. Here, it seems that both Mr. Alger and his employee attempted to summon a faster and more powerful police response by progressively escalating the frantic nature of the 911 calls and the severity of the allegations when officers did not arrive on the scene quickly enough for their liking. By claiming that he had a weapon, the 911 caller put Mr. Slow's life and safety in jeopardy. And if a different officer...
So tell me, what would you have done if you were the officer on that scene? Would you have arrested the woman who lied about the gun? Or would you let her walk away like they did? I want to hear your justice. Leave it in the comments below. Let's talk about the line between protecting the public and becoming a tool for the wicked.